Cat from Australian pig.
No, look.
Did the pictures go?
Yesterday there was two.
Did the pictures come through?
I don't know. My WhatsApp done something wrong.
Oh, because it's just one arrow. I mean, tick.
Thank you.
Berapa? 150?
150 kan? Satu setengah.
150.
Satu setengah.
You'll just wait for my lottery to strike.
We will never hear of it lah.
You know the Biru looks like this already? It's a country.
Yeah. Been there maybe a couple weeks ago.
Sorry dari suspend, tapi since kamu buat satu kali nah,
I wanted to
Oh ya.
Truly, I worry like misjudge suddenly.
Huh? What? Why you speaking beside me? Not behind my back. Okay, then we can switch. The 30-year-old, the newly birthday. Yeah.
dia sempat depan. Betul. Dia fly Friday last week.
Added lah.
I did.
I just said, oh, come, she's coming.
Can we just make some room? Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much for being here. I hope everyone's had an interesting morning. We're here at Fusan, and I think all of the local shopkeepers and everyone who's been here, the community, for their really warm welcome. It's been a really fantastic visit. This morning we also started the day with some fishball juk and last night. I hope that my personal story can contribute to the relationship, but more importantly, I think what I want to emphasise is it's not only my story. This is a story that many Australians can tell. We have so many Australians. Thank you. So many Australians who are born overseas or whose parents are born overseas, who have connections with Southeast Asia and other countries around the world. We are a multicultural and diverse nation. And I hope in part my story can contribute to reminding people in this region and throughout the world that Australia is a modern, diverse, multicultural society which is keen to continue engaging with the region. I'm happy to take questions.
How do you think that will help Australia deepen relations with countries like Malaysia? What is the process there?
Oh, look, relationships always require engagement and work, and what I'm really pleased about is that I think the way in which we've been received, me and my delegation, has been really warm and hospitable. But it's important to remember we're not starting from now. We have a long-standing relationship with Malaysia, very deep people-to-people ties, very strong defence and strategic ties. The Five Powers Defence Arrangement, which goes back to 1971, I think it is. We've got people, like my father and many, many other Malaysians who studied in Australia. We still have lots of Malaysians studying in Australia. So we have strong people-to-people links. And what foreign ministers and members of the government, members of the media and the community can do is continue to build that relationship.
Speaking to some local shop owners here, one thing that they've been telling me is that they'll really appreciate an Australian university in suburb. Do you think that could be on the horizon?
Well, we'll have a look at that. It was pretty interesting walking around here. I think the last time I came here, Dad and I were doing grocery shopping, so this time's a little bit different. I don't think anybody noticed me.
Are there practical things you can do to improve the relationship? So I mean, there's quite extensive visa delays.
Yes, look.
Malaysians coming to Australia to show their paperwork and more faster than the week.
Yes, look, that's been raised with me, as you would expect, by people in Malaysia, and I understand we're working through the backlog. There has been a backlog, and we're conscious of the delays that's meant for people who want to come to Australia. And I was at the High Commission, was it yesterday or the day before? The last couple of days, and spoke to people, and they're working very hard to get through that backlog. Obviously having a foreign minister who's from this Sabahan by birth and who is from East Malaysia, we hope that there will be more links. We did discuss that obviously education is important and there are some industry links, but we've got more work to do. Primarily this visit I wanted to focus on people-to-people engagement, and I was really grateful and honoured that so many politicians and dignitaries from different parts of the political spectrum and from the community have been willing to engage with me. It's been really humbling.
And how do you think that message has gone down? Because you've been very consistent with your message, haven't you, that Australia is a multicultural, diverse society.
Well, I think if you believe something, you probably deliver it better, don't you? And it happens to be the truth. And I think it is one of the strengths Australia has that we've insufficiently. It's one of the strengths of who Australia is, and we should tell that story in the region more. I think that's a good thing.
You're uniquely qualified to do that, given your own experience. Have you seen change? Have you felt it yourself?
I always resolve from the word unique because my experience isn't that unique. As I said, 1 in 2 Australians are either born overseas or have parents who are born overseas. So this is a very Australian experience. You're seeing parts of my life here, but this story can be told by so many Australians. The story of migration, the story of balik kampung, the story of the memories of where you came from and what that means about who you are, and that's a really important part of the Australian story.
We talk maybe
How
on
important is that to Asia to hear that, to Malaysia and Southeast Asia?
Well, you might want to speak to some of the local Malaysians about that. I think it matters that Australia speaks to Southeast Asia in a way that recognises that we are part of this region and that our futures are shared. These are challenging times in the world. We're all seeking to navigate these challenging times, and we do it best when we do it together. And that collectivity comes from an understanding that our future prosperity and security is shared. Anything else?
can we talk about
You are talking about the migration, and of course there is the cultural exchange between the
Absolutely.
So, is there any similarities between the culture in Sabah and the culture in Australia that they might bring?
Well, I think Sabah's a very multicultural place also, yes, yeah. And you see, the school we went to, see a lot of diversity in the families here, and you see it in these communities. So, look, I think it is a wonderful thing for people from different cultures to share experiences, and that's always enriching. And in that process, you find things that are similar and things that differ, both of which you learn from.
In one way, of course, your experience is not shared in Malaysia, isn't it? In the fact that there are not that many women in Parliament in Malaysia, certainly not the Chinese Malaysians.
Well, that's ultimately a matter for the Malaysian democracy. My views on that and Australia's views on that are pretty clear. And if you look at the results of the last election in Australia, one of the very, I think, inspiring stories of that election was how many women, particularly from diverse backgrounds, were elected to the Australian Parliament. It's something we should be. I am very proud of. I think our country did a great thing in the last election with that election.
Can we talk about the role of Australia in the South China Sea?
Apa?
The role of Australia in maintaining security in the South China Sea.
The questions about the South China Sea, and I'd make a few points. The first point I'd make is that the South China Sea. First point I'd make is that international law norms, the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, these principles matter, and they matter not only to claimant states, but they matter to all states in the region. A great deal of our trade transits the South China Sea. There is a reason why it is important to have international law observed. That's the position Australia will continue to take, and countries of the region will continue to take.
What is the best Sabahan food that you taste in these 2 days?
Well, I think the juk we had this morning. Yeah. See, that's a very Malaysian question. You go to the food.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for the LGBTQ community here who are largely a little bit cast aside? As someone who is a proponent of same-sex marriage, what do you advise?
Look, I don't give advice about domestic politics in the countries to which I go, but I would say this: people know my views from the things I've said over 20 years in public life. Anything more?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody. Cheers. Oh, one more over here. Sorry? Did you say one more?
Is there a question?
No? Okay, thank you everybody. Cheers.
Penny.
Some people would just like to photo with you before you jump in the car.
Sorry.
You were kissing that under your sleeve.
I got no sleep today.
What should we do?